Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Town of Grand Rapids, Tuesday, October 8th. Town Board meeting is called to order. First item on our agenda is going to be to approve the minutes from the September 24th, 2013 Town Board.
Chairman, I so move.
Motion by Bill,
I'll second it.
second by Dan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Item 2, public comment. People wishing to speak to address the board will be limited to 2 minutes each, with public comment limited to a total of 30 minutes. Now, as I assume most of you folks are here for item number 4, I'll just ask for those that wish to speak on other items, and then we'll have some interaction with you folks during item number 4, then, if that's fair with you. Anybody wishing to speak on any other items other than item number 4? Ron,
Do they have the items on here?
No,
no?
you can address the board.
You can address the board.
Okay, my name's Ron Head. You're doing some budget discussions now. And I see River Cities is here, and I'm not too sure how we're paying for them, but I'd like the board to consider including a budget line for River Cities or some means of televising the board meetings or getting that communication out somehow. Issue 2, I see normally we got public comment on the first meeting of the month. I don't know why it's not normally on the second meeting of the month. I guess I've been missing that. And also down on item number 14, where we do have more committees and commissions which don't report out, and I don't know why that is. I'm assuming the information is not only for the board, but also for the attendees. And I'd like you to consider expanding that one a little bit. And that probably takes care of my 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Ed. Was there somebody else in the back that I saw? Dave?
Dave Kiwa, Grand Rapids. Item 6, the MSA to develop the 5-year capital improvement plan.
Yes?
I guess I just disagree with us spending this money on this plan. It should have been spent before we did the top of the town line project. Maybe they could have given up a little more grants for that one and saved us out some money. And also on item 10, the fuel system for the lighter truck 1. I guess I just hope that they've purchased a stainless steel fuel tank for the truck. This is something that we're going to have for a long time, and the stainless one will last a lot longer, even if it costs a little more money for that.
Okay.
So I say thank you.
Any other comments? Any other folks wishing to comment? Any other folks wishing to comment on any other items other than number 4? Hearing none, I'll call the public comment period closed and open up the monthly reports. First from the fire department. Chief Don Bone.
Grand Rapids Board, town residents, for the month of last month, we currently are at 55 members on our fire department. That is our maximum number according to our bylaws. We're kind of out of the norm on a lot of areas are hurting for members. We are picking them up left and right. So we're at 55 members. We have 6 members that are strictly the first responder squad that assist United Ambulance on all the ambulance calls, which, as you'll see shortly, is getting to be a big part of our business. We did have 30 calls last month. 24 of those were ambulance calls. The ambulance business in Grand Rapids is getting just as busy as Wisconsin Rapids is. Today alone we had 3 ambulance calls. So the ambulances and our first responder squads are running pretty steady. We did have 1 grass fire resulting from a tree on a power wire, 2 motor vehicle accidents, which actually somebody asked me. We do respond on every motor vehicle accident if it comes in that there are injuries. There's a lot more than 2 accidents in the town in the course of a month, but only 2 of them had injuries where an ambulance is dispatched. Fire department automatically goes for traffic control, scene safety, and things of that nature. to protect the people in the vehicles until we get them out, and to protect the first responders that are there working on them. We did receive, we had one RIT team response to the city of Wisconsin Rapids when they had a structure fire about a week ago. It's a crew that goes down to assist the firefighters if they get injured, if the roof collapses on them. That's the team that goes in to rescue the firefighters. So if you ever see 6 guys standing over in the corner doing nothing, that's a great thing. If they're working, something went drastically wrong. But that's a collaborative effort of all the fire departments in the area. Typically, each department will send 2 or 3 personnel to the scene of somebody else's emergency to assist in taking care of that. We did have some burnt toast at Mid-State Technical College the other morning. But unfortunately, they have a new fire alarm system, and that activated very well. We did have a truck camper burn up a couple weeks ago. Our monthly training, they're actually training at the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department has 2 training houses, one on Griffith Avenue and one on A Street. If you ever see fire departments working, training at a house and stuff, one on Griffith is off the road a ways, you probably can't see it. The other one is basically just south of 2 Mile on A Street. That the teams go there and do a lot of their internal trainings. Our EMS is actually training tonight down at United Ambulance. We're starting a refresher class. Every 2 years you have to go through a refresher to upgrade all your skills. That's beginning tonight, so as soon as I get out of here, we'll be down there. And our fire department training for the month is going to be training on our accountability system, so we have a system to make sure we don't lose somebody in the course of a fire call. It's quite a system, so when you get 30, 40 people working around outside of a house or inside, we keep track of where everybody's at. Our monthly meetings, we've had our business meeting last night, officers meetings, and our training meetings coming up. Public relations, obviously it's Fire Prevention Week. We've been having the schools in and out of the fire station all week. We were out to Grant School today to work on the kindergartners through 2nd grade. And basically all week we have groups coming in and out throughout the month of October into November. I don't know if anybody happened to see on Saturday, we were actually selling called Memorial Mums. They're similar to a poppy that the VFW sold. It's to raise money for the firefighters memorial down along the river to get the maintenance and stuff. They estimate $30,000 to $40,000 a year annual upkeep and maintenance on that park. It's not only available for firefighters. Typically there's weddings down there almost every weekend. It's a great park to go down, have events and stuff down there. It's along the Wisconsin River, just south of the Expressway Bridge and stuff. So we were out selling at some of the Cops, Shopco, Walmart, and a couple other places around the town. Had firemen there all Saturday morning and afternoon, and from what I understand, raised almost $3,000 due to the generosity of the people coming and going. So hopefully if we can get 10 or 15 cities around the state to do that one day a week or one day a year, we can come up with the money to keep that park up and running and functional. So if you've never been there, stop down. It's a beautiful place to go through. And I guess that was the extent of our public relations for this.
Any questions of the fire chief? Now we should turn to your safety department report.
Yep, safety department, we haven't had any lost time injuries, thankfully, and we're going to be doing training on our winter driving skills, updating the road crew, discussing some of our winter stuff because that's not that far away.
Any questions on the safety? Thank you very much. Police Department, Sergeant Dave Greenbein.
Well, this month's report is pretty short. You can see that the calls were down just a little bit compared to 2012. You can see the breakdown that's in your pamphlets that were handed out. The auxiliary is still doing events. They got diverted from the Home Depot event on Saturday. We had a call on 48th Street that they needed to assist Officer Kavishek with, which took a lot of time. So they got involved to actually do some investigating and stuff with Tammy. They also did an event with Choose to Reuse. And from my understanding, that went quite well for them. Bill, was there any issues or anything that came up?
Oh, yes, they were good. They came in very good.
Okay. I didn't know. They said it was fine, and I just wanted to see from your end. Officer Kubishek went to the Girl Scout camp, and she did a safety presentation pretty much all day. Went very well. Had lots of questions, lots of interest with that. The police department in a whole is still extremely busy. Seems like we get about an hour of downtime, and then we'll have 6 hours of straight calls and investigations. So it's still busy. Other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions? Hearing no questions, thank you very much.
You may be excused.
You may be excused.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll then move to item 4, discussion on giving Kellner Knights approval for non-developed road right-of-way in the south end of 76th Street between South Circle Drive and Grove Avenue for the snowmobile trail. This was acted on at the last board meeting, was approved, and now there is a opportunity for, I believe Bill has indicated that he wished to rescind the motion. Is that correct, William?
Yes. I will make a motion to rescind the action of the previous meeting on the Kellner Snowmobile Trail.
Is there a second?
Well, I have a question on that. You're rescinding the action, but that means then today, that same action cannot be taken? I don't understand what Billa's motion is. Is it rescinding his motion? Is that what he's doing?
I think
Rescinding his motion?
the motion is to reconsider. And then we can have the discussion with the citizens. That would be correct, Judy?
I'm not positive.
I believe that's what I was indicated when I read Robert's Rules of Order.
I don't,
Any board member on the positive side can make a motion to reconsider that motion. That can then come up for reconsideration. At that point in time, additional information that may have not been available at that meeting can then be discussed, and the motion can be then made one way or the other. It's my interpretation. Yours, William?
I only asked what would you do?
I would have thought that this would just be like a new agenda item present to the board to discuss and have an additional motion if pending the outcome of the conversations that are here today. That there wouldn't,
There wasn't.
you wouldn't necessarily be making a motion to rescind the action if, after listening to conversations, there's still that chance that action would not be rescinded, or,
Go ahead, Dan.
So we would just have a whole nother motion to
Approve or deny.
approve or deny.
And it would
based on the
override.
discussions,
Based
that's
on
what
the
I would have been
discussion.
under the impression of. If Bill has his rules there, read them to us.
No, that's fine. You could, because we all voted in the majority to approve this. We can reconsider it, we can rescind it, and we can also, like was explained, just bring this up and discuss a new motion.
And that's what I guess I was under the impression. I was coming
quite
today to
frankly, that's probably
discuss
the
and bring a new
cleaner.
motion.
That is probably the cleaner way to do it.
Yes, I believe it is.
All right, so we'll move to discussion on Keller Knights approval. They're wishing to have the non-developed road right-of-way at the south end of 76th Street South between South Circle Drive and Grove Avenue. What I'd like to do is give them an opportunity to indicate to you what they wanted to do, if they still want to do it, and then give you folks the opportunity to go ahead. So is there a representative, or is it Dan?
No, I can.
Go ahead, just, you don't need to go to the podium, you can sit if you wish.
Oh, well, I can see everybody, I guess. I'm Dan Doak with Kellner Knights, president of the club. And last month we came with a proposal about a potential issue we had with some private property where the trail currently crosses. on the, basically if you're coming from Lake Wazeecha heading north, County Trunk W, and it crosses Grove Avenue. Currently, the property turned over, a gentleman had passed away, and the new landowners have been contacted, and through our club, we've decided to look at an alternative route to see if there was a better way or a safer route, or a route that wouldn't include private property. And the park department was willing to adjust their trail with the access from Wazeecha to Grove, basically have a trail that would go farther to the east, and then the trail would come out on the Grove Avenue access and continue east on the south ditch to the 76th Street thoroughfare, and then just utilize the thoroughfare to the 76th Street, which is where the trail currently comes out to now. So that was the proposal, or the part where we just wanted to approach the board to find out if that was a legitimate option, and what things we might need to do or consider as a group looking out for the trail system for the state of Wisconsin. So at that point, we can further discussion back and forth. That's fine. That's the original part. So.
Anybody wish to speak? Just go ahead, give me your hand, and I'll recognize you. Go ahead, sir.
We just, myself and my wife, just object to it because of the noise.
Your name, sir?
Dan Merrill. I live at 7611 Grove Avenue. The noise, the headlights at night. And our house is only right now 40 feet from the lot line. And so, and people walking on Grove Avenue, where the snowmobiles would come out on Grove Avenue and crossing the road. There's people walking quite a bit, even in the wintertime, and we think it'd be unsafe.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Other folks? In the back?
Hi, I'm Teresa Thrun. I live at 7521 Grove Avenue, and I was the person who contacted my neighbors to create a petition in regard to this matter. I was, with the help of others, was able to get 24 signatures in less than 2 days. I'll use the word "we" because some of the things I'm going to share with you are things that other people said to me when we were collecting signatures. First off, we are, of course, requesting that motion be amended based on the fact that this is a residential area. I'll just read my petition to you because I don't claim to be a speaker. First off, the Kellner Night Snowmobile had never contacted any of us in regard to this potential trail change. We just want the opportunity to present our concerns regarding this request. As the property, homeowners, and taxpayers of Grand Rapids, we are being subjected to the noise, lights, nuisance, traffic hazards, and potential damage to our property caused by the snowmobile traffic at all hours of the day and night. This actually is a really nice green space where the trail would go through, and the trees and whatever that are already there will be destroyed. This route is in a residential area where we enjoy the privacy and quiet that we have located our homes here to enjoy. We believe the interest of this group's recreational wishes over those whose homes are located here is not fair. We are all probably snowmobilers, have had snowmobiles, enjoy snowmobiling. It's not about the snowmobiles, it's about the fact that this is a residential area. This snowmobile club probably has excellent members that would never do anything to cause any problems for all of us. The problem is the other people that it brings in, the criminal element, everything else that entails. And we just feel very much that it is, I can hear the snowmobiles on the route that they already have, and I live 4 houses down from that route. I can see the damage to our new Grove Road. We got a beautiful new Grove Avenue. It's gorgeous. And you can just see right where the sleds go back and forth across the road. It damages it, and I don't think that's any one type of sled or anything like that. Some of the other concerns that people had is, how many of the members of this club even live in Grand Rapids, for one thing. Other people have commented that they already have plenty of other trails to use. We those of you who snowmobile know where all those trails are, and there's tons of them right in Southwood County Park. Plus, they can access out of there and go right down 64th Street. The access trail that they want to use past us really doesn't go like, it's not like a local business will lose business if that trail doesn't go there. I mean, there are other trails for them. They've been awarded lots of trails, and if you look at their map, you'll see them there. People are concerned about the car traffic hazards of them crossing. Concern for other people said things like the property values for their homes would be affected by the presence of the trail there. Not everyone's a snowmobiler. Like I said, many of us are. We've enjoyed it. It's been good to us, but that is not the case. And furthermore, all the people I contacted, now one person said I wouldn't sign. No one wants it in our residential area down there. And I think if you come down by us, you'll see it's a beautiful area. A lot of people pedestrian walk back and forth. All those things are at risk because of the presence of the sleds. The sleds are big, they're loud. I mean, I don't know what more to say other than you stand outside and listen. And like I said, I can hear them a half a block away, and I can hear them inside my house. They already go past the front of my house. Now they're not only going to go past the front of the house, they're going to go on the side of my house. And it is at all hours of days and nights. I mean, the snowmobile club here, they probably keep a better, how would you say, schedule where they're not going at all times, but they can't speak for any other people except themselves. And I guess lastly, we all pay thousands of dollars in taxes to live here. They can locate their trail in the other areas that they've already been granted access to, and you can look at their trail maps to see it. And finally, would you want this next to your house? Would any of you want to have to wake up to snowmobiles going at all hours of the day and night? It's just the light, the noise, the everything. And that is, I guess, in a nutshell. And I don't mean to go long-winded, and I'm not a talker.
I thank you for your comments. They're
Thank
well
you.
received. And anybody else wish to speak? Go ahead, sir.
I'm Aloysius Britz. I live 76th Street, number 40. Now, I am not opposed to snowmobiles. I have 2 snowmobiles myself. The only difference is I spend the extra dollar and I go up north and I run the snowmobiles up north where there's nobody in the way. The National Forests are welcome snowmobilers in all states, so that is no problem. Now, when I came to Rapids here, I opened up my backyard to the snowmobile club. So, I mean, and for their use. So, I mean, that was fine. But I don't believe that a snowmobile belongs in the residential area. In that particular case, the snowmobile would go by my house, through my alongside of my property, and that would be a pain in the neck. The area that they want to use is the dead-end portion of 76th Street. Now, Rapids hasn't taken the time to build a playground in that area, but that unused portion of the highway of 76th Street is a playground for the kids. In the wintertime, they play with their sleighs. Summertime, they run their scooters up there. We got more than one kid living in that particular area of town. And to have snowmobiles competing with these kids on sleighs would not be very good. And I just can't see that when there's other areas to be used. Now, on the personal side, I have a wife that is vision impaired. And this is an area that she walks in. Well, she can't walk there. She has to use a walker. But it's a safe area for her to move around out of the yard because she cannot walk. In fact, I have a special mailbox because she cannot walk to the regular mailboxes because of the chance of her stepping in front of a car or and stepping in front of a snowmobile. So that is my input on this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any comments over on the side here that I can't see? Go ahead, and then I'll ask if the snowmobile chance to respond.
Okay. My name's Karen Matthews. I live at 2810 Geneva Court. The back of my house backs up to Grove. Our house is probably the one of them that's going to be impacted the most because that's going to come right across the road. Headlights are going to shine right in my bedroom. The trail will be right behind my house, which is like 50 feet from my bedroom. We have a hot tub out there that we like to enjoy in the winter time. I sure don't want to enjoy it with snowmobiles going by and the fumes everywhere else. We also just built a new garage with a driveway. That snowmobile trail will go over my brand new driveway. I want to know who's going to take care of that driveway, who's going to repair that when that's set up. I just don't feel this is, like I feel too, it's a residential area. There's too many homes, too many people, as you can see here, that are impacted by this decision and stuff that I just really do not believe this needs to go through. The taxes we pay, it is not good. And I just want to voice my opinion that I think the way all of this has been handled by the board and by the Snowmobile Club is very unprofessional.
One more in the back, sir. You have your hand in the back, one more now.
My name's Larry Wallner. I live at 2820 Geneva Court, with Karen, on my backyard. But also, I got it on the side of my house, so I got it on two sides in that respect. And also, I spend hundreds of dollars on my lawn every year, and this is gonna be granted, it's technically not my lawn, but I take care of it.
Appreciate it.
And, it's gonna tear it up, it's gonna lower my property value, because right now, if that's all tore up, who's gonna wanna buy my house? You got a
better say something
snowmobile trail going two sides. I don't think that's fair.
One more, Mr. Lincoln, then Justin. Justice.
I've lived there. I'm Paul Link from 78th Street. I've lived there since 1970. And when that trail came through there, I don't believe there hardly a house there. The trail they just shut down. Because I was snowmobiling in 67, 68. I don't believe there was a trail there or a house there when they put that trail through. Now there's gotta be 40 of them, 30 of them that it affects. I don't know what your policy is, but it should be. If the person that lived there didn't want it, why should somebody else?
I guess I won't hazard to answer a question like that. I don't know the answer. Somebody on this side wanted to speak?
There's another one.
Go ahead.
My name is Jean Matthews. My husband and I live on the corner of 78th and Grove. And although safety's been mentioned, I guess one point, I remember we lived there since 1972. And I remember when Grove went all the way through and that became a superhighway with cars and snowmobiles. Now, as I understand, the new proposed trail for the snowmobile would no longer go through the woods on a normal trail-like setting, but it would go crossing W on 76 and down this new county land or whatever county. And it's a straight shot. And that is going to be another superhighway for snowmobiles. It's going to be a route kind of a thing coming up to Grove, which with all the traffic that's on Grove, I can't imagine that would be not a safety concern, especially considering, all the time of the days and nights that could, and the drinking and everything that can go on.
All right, anybody else?
I'm Justin Connor, I'm the Vice President, Membership Chair of the Kellner Knights. Just to address, sorry, I had to stand up so you can see me, but I'm
Probably sleeping.
yeah, he fell asleep. Just to answer a few of the questions, we have currently about 84 families that are active members of the Kellner Knights. Roughly, I guess I've never done the math on who exactly lives in Grand Rapids or not, but the majority, I would say probably 60 of them are in Grand Rapids, the rest are in Buren or in neighboring Saratoga and then Kellner. Parts of Portage County there, Grants County, town of Grant. We maintain 55 miles of trail from Plover down to Anchor Bay, roughly in that area, south along 80th Street, and then out towards like Ponderosa Pines and Plainfield. We do this all volunteer. Nobody gets paid for any of this. the snowmobiling sport completely supports itself. We don't get any money from the state as far as general tax revenue. Everything that comes back to us is for registrations and that. So we're, completely self-funded in that regard. Snoring now. As far as the safety and that goes, none of us here want, to see any problems, and that's kind of one of the reasons why we looked at the public right of way. We safely use public right of way in probably close to a half dozen, if not 8, 10 other spots in the town. As far as continuing on the safety, there are it's the rules, but the law, safety-wise, to within 100 feet of a house to slow down to 15 miles an hour. We actually have that's the law. It's the law. I'm not a policeman. I don't enforce that. But if that's the law, if there's an issue, that's it becomes enforcement. But and we do mark. That section of the current section is marked at 10 miles an hour. So it would not become a super highway where they're doing 60 miles an hour down a town road. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've had, at least my phone number is out there. I've never gotten a call from a complaint on any other parts of the public right-of-way that we use. That current right-of-way, it's 66 feet. We're looking at 20 feet, so that would leave
18 feet,
almost, yeah.
maybe 24 feet buffer on each side.
So we'd leave plenty of buffer on the sides. If what currently isn't there, or what currently is there, if that's not suitable, we'd be more than willing to plant evergreens or anything like that. I don't know. I guess I don't know if I go on and on, but are there any other questions?
Bobby?
Go ahead. I'm Bobby Donahue. I'm a resident of town of Grand Rapids and have been here for, close to 20 years now. I have a business located in the town of Grand Rapids that's been here for, I think, 45 years now. And like you, we pay a lot of pecking taxes. I would trade my tax bill with any one of you, what I pay for that business to be here in the town of Grand Rapids. And I do mean any one of you, please. I sit here and listen. I came here just because these guys said there's going to be a little opposition to a new routing of a snowmobile trail, and I'm going, okay. Having been growing up on a snowmobile from a very, very young age, and very much enjoy the sport. And I know guys I recognize like Paul Link, for example, that at a few years ago, maybe many years ago, enjoyed the sport as well, and I think a few of you others probably currently do. It's I feel almost like we're the hated family here. As I walk into here, I'm thinking, these people hate snowmobiling that much? I don't get it. You don't, okay? So I'm getting the wrong message then, so I guess I must have heard something incorrectly.
We have nothing against snowmobiles or snowmobilers, just not in a residential.
Just not in your backyard, right?
I mean, do you want it in your backyard? Always.
I have it in my yard, and I have it in my business yard.
But we don't want it in our backyard.
Yeah, I heard you say that. I'm talking, thank you. Yep.
And it's not just the right of way.
Just a point of order, we like to keep it orderly, so we don't get.
Anyhow, trying to follow up on this without any too much animosity here. I hear you. I live here. I have a home. People with snowmobiles drive across my yard. Larry, yep, they probably do a little damage to my grass. Probably no more than, I'm sorry, our snowplow driver over there does. He doesn't do it intentionally. I go and fix it every spring. I don't call, I don't call and say, hey, my grass is tore up. I go and fix it, just like the rest of us all do. He does the job, the best job he can do. I think what we're asking here, folks, is a little leniency with snowmobilers. The people that come from out of the area, that come and snowmobile and enjoy our trails, they also bring money to this area, and they help pay for the taxes that we're helping support and sponsor. Our business, as most of you know, this is how we make our living. I have 21 families that are supported off of my little business over there, of which the majority are from this area. And I guess, and I think Dan has a plan here to work with you folks on this, but I guess in summary, you all have a legitimate right to say how you feel about it. And as a homeowner in this area, I can't honestly tell you that you're wrong, but I want to state a couple of facts that are important for everybody to know. Number one is there's 225,000 snowmobilers that pay a registration fee of $30 to drive their snowmobile in the state of Wisconsin. And I can't tell you how much or if any of that comes to the town of Grand Rapids, only they could answer that for you. But there's a lot of money that comes into the state of Wisconsin for this sport to be enjoyed here. Secondly, there are more miles of snowmobile trails, of which the majority are on private property, than there are paved highways for cars in the state of Wisconsin. That's right. There's more miles of snowmobile trails like we're asking for from you and the rest of you than there are paved highways, because where a trail comes, it has to be able to lead to someplace. It's like the road that's in front of your home. If it doesn't go anyplace, what good does that road do you? So the snowmobiles are operating on the same principle as the car system does here, as you do with every one of your cars. The other thing is absolutely the noise of snowmobiles has changed drastically over the years. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when snowmobiles came out, they're terribly, terribly loud. The federal law that limits the noise of a snowmobile being produced these days, and I believe the law was passed in 2002, so it means back to about 10 to 12 years ago, is very consistent with automobiles today. Very consistent with the car that you drive. Now, a lot of us in this room drive motorcycles. I can cite a few that I know, and they alter the exhaust, but I don't hear anybody complaining about the loudness of motorcycles, which I ride as well. Snowmobiles are definitely not louder than a lot of those motorcycles that are on the road today. And all I'm saying is that I wish you would all at least take and have a second reconsideration of what we're asking. That's all. And I thank you for your time and patience.
Ken, did you want to follow up?
Yeah, I'm just gonna follow up a couple of points. The one thing I would mention too is that Karen's comment was that based on our initial approach to the board was the education piece from what the club would need to do and look at, and from an educational standpoint, from our standpoint as well, and try to be the best neighbor in the community as well as far as finding a solution for that, for the trail system itself with the board. And that's why we opted to try using the public access tool as an opportunity. Second of all, unfortunately, to Teresa, to your point, I couldn't agree with you more about that. We're probably the most passionate ones of the 80 families in the area that enjoy the sport and look at it as a family avenue versus the people that choose to. There's a handful of people that choose to be motorists that don't use their best ethics on our highways. We're going to have that in the snowmobile community too, and we know what happens. We don't like it either. It gives a bad rap for that, or anybody that drives a car. So we wish we could police that better. We wish there was more teeth that would have forced them to respect that. When they are in the road right away, they do have to respect all of the motorist responsibilities of speed limit and stop signs and whatnot when they're in that area of the trail system itself. And secondly, that section of trail is our main corridor, which is the main thoroughfare on the Wisconsin trail system itself for Wisconsin Rapids. One of the only reasons the 64th Street actually even exists is because there's just one incredibly massively large, private landowner that even allowed that loop to be created. But the 64th Street crosses way more asphalt or road intersections with vehicle traffic than what this proposed trail would, which is where the safety element of it is actually coming from our view, to try and protect those on snowmobiles the most we can. In places where there might be an issue, not only ourselves but other clubs in other parts of the state are open to putting up snow fences or whatnot that might need to be done in order to keep, unfortunately, that small percentage of screwballs in the places where they need to be. That does happen from time to time. So we're not opposed to that, and we do take some responsibility in that because that comes with the maintaining part of it that we've always done. And And this section, if it was deemed appropriate, it would have been treated no different in our view. The last part I'd like to address is that with approaching the board last month and looking for the discussion of the education part of it, it's certainly not a representation of the Kellner Knights to go below board or above board or whatnot to try to pass something without the community's involvement. That too is one area that I also regret it went that way without this happening tonight myself. I guess the only thing I can say in defense is that I guess we thought we were on the public property part of it versus being on private land piece of it. So I don't want that to be misconstrued as a representation of us or any of our club members or any of us snowmobilers that care about the sport in our community. So I just want that to be out there as well.
Thank you.
That's what I've got for right now.
Dan?
I have one question
Sure.
to Dan.
Sure.
And what about the new homeowners where the trail did go through? The people that sold house, the new homeowners now?
I guess.
How did they say?
I can.
What was the question?
The new homeowners where the house sold, I guess it'd be worthwhile to give a timeline. As you know, I don't like it either, summer's ended. And we needed to basically protect our, because we didn't want to get caught in December and find out that, well, okay, now we don't have, a trail anymore, either place. So we had to get the ball rolling with the town before we know who bought the house, and we talked to them.
The son-in-law of that property contacted me and just said that the gentleman that passed away, that they were going to be selling the property, and so they didn't know, what was going to happen or how the new homeowner might feel about it. So that's where we started to put the ball in motion to try to protect that thoroughfare. That's the challenge we kind of have on our side is it's our responsibility to protect the trail system for the whole state snowmobile trail system for the part that we're responsible for. And that was one area where we felt maybe we were on borrowed time already with that gentleman. He was a snowmobiler and allowed the trail to pass through there. And obviously as well.
Yeah, and where it currently is, it goes, I haven't measured it, but I would guess 10, 15 feet from a corner of the house, and then their garage on the other side. So it splits a house and a garage. It's not an ideal place to have it, and we've been very fortunate that the gentleman allowed us to use that.
So have you asked?
We have talked to them. It's a younger couple, probably mid-20s, I'd guess. They are willing to try it for a year, but like I said, it's not an ideal spot. Anyhow, we would be fine for this year, but we would come back again next year and ask for it. Another reroute.
Well, we don't know, but at this point, they're okay with trying it for a year, and after speaking with them personally now and walking the property, just and walk the property with them and everything, and they're comfortable. I think we feel they're committed. They're committed to working with, keeping it this year and letting it, and we are too. It's just we wanted to kind of have this open dialogue and discussion with all parties, so that our concern is if it worst came to worst, we would have had to look for an alternative.
Right.
Mary Lou Eklund. Bobby mentioned something about how many people pay the registration fee and how many people support the businesses. Are they going to quit doing that if they don't get to go in our neighborhood?
If you're asking me, I would guess not, but I don't know.
So that really doesn't make any difference. Those were just numbers thrown in.
Well, I think what I'm trying to point out, ma'am.
Try not to get combative, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Right, Arnie. The point I'm.
We want to have a nice meeting with you folks.
Right. The point I'm trying to make is for you though that don't participate in the snowmobiling. It's not a small sport. I mean, you talked about 225,000 people. paying a registration fee each year in the state. It's a pretty large sport. It's not like a couple of people that bought a couple of bicycles and went for a bicycle ride. I mean, this is a very, very large deal, and it's a very important thing to the state of Wisconsin. What does it mean to the town of Grand Rapids? Probably doesn't mean much. Okay, let's be totally honest with one another. But for those of you folks that don't know the sport, and I don't blame you if you're not a participant, why would you want to know about it? The fact is, so you just know that it's not a small thing, it's a big thing. That's all. It was meant nothing more than that, ma'am.
Okay. More comment on it. I'll turn it over to the board to have a conversation. Sir?
Yes, I'd like to just make a comment, Donahue here, who I happen to do some business with. Snowmobiles don't make much noise if you're wearing earplugs. There's no question about it, and you should be wearing earplugs when you're running a snowmobile. But what my complaint is, and I think almost everybody sitting around me, is the noise factor of running alongside of their houses. Now, snowmobiles can go by my living room. You know, they're not supposed to be at this time, I don't believe, running down 76 and then down the circle. But they go by my living room, which is over 50 feet away. Some of these places are, their bedrooms are only about 40 feet away. And so it is a noise factor. Plus, as I said first, it is a safety factor for the kids in the neighborhood that play at the end of that street, and they've been playing there way before I ever moved to this community, and they'll be playing there after I'm
Just a
gone.
point of clarity for you, I think any snowmobiler that is going to or from a designated trail can come from their house to it. That's the ordinance as presented. If you are going to or from a designated trail, you can go back to your house at reduced speed.
They do, I don't know about that.
Yeah. You're paying gas. Go ahead, one more.
She's got a
question over here. One over here. I apologize, but I didn't see you.
I was just gonna ask, as open as that person is on 64th Street to let the trail run through his home, you know, by his house. And, I mean, he's very open to it, and as you can see, the people who are more residential here are so opposed to it. Those trails are only less than 1 mile away from each other. Why do we need two?
Well, I can give you a good example.
Besides, are you gonna say safety?
No, actually, I moved to Grand Rapids about 6 years ago. I lived just south of Lake Wazeecha, and one of the reasons I moved there was because we love getting out and recreating, whether that's in the summer riding a bike around Lake Wazeecha or whatever, or in the wintertime taking a snowmobile around. And one of the great things about living around Lake Wazeecha is that you know, I've got an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old, and I can't tell you how many times we've done that loop and just going around Lake Wazeecha and around all those little trails. And you know, when he falls asleep, I can get home in 5 minutes. So it's more than just safety, and you know, and I yeah. And
we have one large, incredibly massive landowner, which basically allowed that loop to even be created years after that piece was, the existing trail was already in place for forever. The 64th Street part came about only because of that one landowner who happened to belong to the club at one time, and well, they do, but so that's kind of how that came about, as an idea that said, hey, I think I can, I would open up my property, allow the trail to go through there, and then we could create this loop in the Kellner area for a higher residential spot, you know, so to speak. So there was less snowmobile traffic concentrated in one spot, but yet provided that other option, or else it probably wouldn't exist either. So just, that's a little history for you on that side of it.
All right, thank you for your comment. Board members, questions?
For sale
No.
I have a comment. I'm the one that made the motion to approve it, and I did ask some questions. I asked the snowmobile club if they had contacted any of the residents, and they had told me no, they had not. And then I had also indicated that the chief of police at the last meeting, when this request come before us, he suggested that we deny it until those people are spoken to. And you did not do that, and I still made the motion. But one of the other things that is I had called one of the individuals that is here tonight and asked that, I left a phone message and said that this was going to be on the agenda. And that person didn't get back to me till after the meeting, not knowing that that person had a quick shift and could not. And she asked how it came out, and I told her that it was denied. And she indicated to me that at the last meeting, she heard from an official of the town that this was a dead issue, and that if it would ever come before the board again, that those people who it would concern in that area would be notified. And I understand that wasn't done.
Correct.
So I'm going to make a motion to deny the request.
I'll second it.
Motion is made and seconded. Discussion? What I'd like to give, go ahead, Dan, then I'll give you my comments too.
As far as I happened to go out there and walk that too. I walked because I hadn't been out there before. And we walked by the barrels, their property, and then where that route is. And I'm glad to see that the new homeowner is going to allow that for you. Is there an alternate route that can hook that up? You know, if we work on?
I mean, I make the maps, I stare at the maps all day long. That's about it.
And I can see it, and that goes right by that one guy's house, and like I said, right through that, you know, it definitely is not a perfect situation either one. I see what you're talking about, but, you know, is there something, I'm just curious as a town or whatever that we can do to help or change that one way or another. I don't know that.
I think that's where we're fortunate that the Southwood County Park is as big as it is, on both the north and the south side of the lake itself, that it does suck up as much property as it does to allow the trail to pass through a lot of that the way it is. You know, a lot of the route is on that the way it is. Basically, all the way up to Grove Avenue is on Southwood County Park.
So couldn't a person go like from 64th Street Boat Landing to the old 64th Street Boat Landing and shoot across there to hook up with the big property owner on 64th Street, or cut through on the business, what street is that? Where Ron's Refrigeration is, where that's just all business. It's not residential at all. Could a person use that road right away to cut across and then hook up to where you're looking at? I thought about those two.
Are you saying just right over here?
Yes.
And then the trail does come here to get for gas.
Mm-hmm.
We don't cross, to the north here.
But that's a dead end at that point.
What I'd like to do in regardless of which way this goes, is I'd like to get a study group together to meet with the club, and if I could get some residents that'd be willing to join with us and actually sit with Justin and Dan and see if we can determine what some good routes would be. I think if we can get citizens to buy into a project, it's much better than no input, as you're saying right now. So that being said, whichever way the motion goes, I would then like to form a committee immediately and have some interaction between town residents, and I would then also get some invitations to outside the area town residents that are farther down the trail. And yes, I do live 2 blocks off the trail too, so I do hear where I live, so it's not, I'm on 78th Street on the other side of the lake, so it's just the same as some of them on 78. So I did snowmobile for many years, but back issues have stopped me from that. So Kathy, do you have a comment?
I do, Mr. Chairman. I just want you guys to know that I'm going to vote opposed to the motion. But my reason for voting opposed is because I'm not hearing that they're asking for use of the undeveloped road right away. What I'm hearing is that they have the trail in place for a year and that they would come back to us if they need to. So if we're going to develop a committee to have this conversation and to work collaboratively together on what might work well and what might be a win-win, then I'm not prepared right now to say that the undeveloped use of the undeveloped road right away is necessarily right or wrong. I also want to make a comment that Justin made or I just want to reinforce what Justin made. When people are talking about the two loops, the two trails, that's exactly how my son learned to snowmobile safely. How I could know where he was. He would go out on one loop and he'd come around on the other loop and check in with me. And I knew that was a great way for him to learn about the sport and a safe way to learn about the sport. It is a heavily traveled area through our Grand Rapids area. And if you had one trail and only one trail, you would have a lot of dirt at some point in time. I also want to point out that the trail that runs along 64th Street runs along numerous homes as well, or a section of homes there. And to my recollection, there's not been any complaints about speed, noise, etc. So I think there's a lot of things to be considered. I think it's a great idea that you, and I see head shaking, that if we're going to be talking about it as a group, I think that's a great venue, but I'm not opposed to using the undeveloped road right away with the knowledge that's given here.
Dan, go ahead, one more.
The other reason why we're incredibly passionate about what it is that in regards to the state trail system, this is one of only two places that the state trail system crosses the Wisconsin River. So that's how pivotal actually that main corridor actually is, which is unbelievable to all of us, even us in the club, to get to the Wisconsin River to pass through this area if anybody is using the trail system itself. So just more history, I guess, more FYI from where we're coming from.
Okay, just one more comment, then I want to go back to board.
Yep.
Actions, okay? Go ahead, ma'am.
This gentleman here mentioned that they hadn't had any complaints, and with it being so close to our house, even planting trees there is not going to make a big difference. The brush that's there now, the trees, in the winter, there's no buffer there. But if they did have a complaint and we would call you, what would be? What are we going to say? Something went by really fast and it scared my grandkids out of the yard and they came running to the house, or somebody went over our property last night and it's all damaged. There's no. If they shoot down that road, there's no way to keep track of who's doing what. We can call and make a complaint, but what does that do for us?
Well,
trail cameras work real well now. We find that it catches criminals.
We get that. We do have the county sheriffs that they do patrol. They patrol Friday nights, Saturday nights. And they patrol at the hours you would think that there'd be goofballs out on the trail.
And they patrol on snowmobiles.
on
It's not car patrol. It's snowmobile patrol.
The Grand Rapids Police, they also sit, either if there's a problem, they will say, you go over that intersection, whatever. But I haven't had that happen in I think I've been vice president 4 years now.
Okay, Kathy?
Justin or Dan, maybe you could, or Bobby probably from historical, but years ago when I belonged to the club, there was a discussion about trying to reroute one of our two trails into the Grant area, further out, kind of having a bypass entirely of the towns. And that's run into opposition because of
I've asked about that because the section of trail I signed goes from, just figure Highway 54 and Highway U all the way out to Plover. And I often thought that would be, a great way. A couple things. I don't think that it would completely relieve us of having trails in Grand Rapids because, like I said, we have quite a few residents that need to get to the trails themselves, and they would still travel over road, even if it were out there. But also, you've got a lot of the prairie chicken grasslands that is either through managed by the DNR or private conservation groups that don't allow snowmobiles, or for that matter, they don't allow vehicles out there. So
we're in discussion on the board motion. Any other comments on the motion?
One of them was complaints, which is justified. There was a complaint last year 3 times, and I was called on it, and I notified the chief of police. I don't know what was done, but there was continued complaints, and that was up here on White Sands Beach, the Lane property, where they thought there used to be a walkway. Okay, and the other concern I have is what Supervisor Elf said about 76th Street. I think 76th Street and the town using that for other purposes than roads. It is a laid out road, and I think that's a concern of all the residents in the town, that the town is taking a road right away and turning it into something else. I think the electors should have not only people that are opposed or for snowmobiles, but this is taking actually town property and making another use out of it.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, isn't that what we utilize throughout the town? We have town right away where the snowmobile trails run currently. Right along 64th Street is town right away. Over by 78th Street is town right away. They're using the right of way, which the statutes allow. So that, my point on that was that, my point to when I made that comment was, and perhaps I should ask the question to make sure it's very clear, is that, are you saying, as of right now, you do not need to use the non-developed road right away, but that you would be coming back to the town if within the year or after the year, that property owner shuts her trail down, his or her trail down?
Technically, we have access for another year, but we are nervous to have a contingency plan in place.
Any other comments, Dan? Do you have any? Okay. Matthew, would you read the motion back, or you have it?
To deny the request.
Okay. Hearing none, all in favor of denying the request, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. All right, so now what my intention is to.
So we need that extra eye.
Yeah. You didn't have to help us. But thanks anyway. I thought I did hear more than 5 voices. But if you come to our annual town meeting when we have our budget, you may then vote. Yes, you may. So my intention would be to get to you relatively soon. I'm gonna try to get her, and Bobby, would it be using your facilities, would we be able to get community involvement?
Yes.
Okay, let's try that. We'll get you citizens involved, and if we can badger together some email addresses rather than phone calls. I think we have most of yours from the document, right? We'll try that. We'll get something in the paper. I'll get our new city, what do they call our new city paper? City Times internet site to see if they can help us out. We'll get something set up in the next month or so and start some discussions. How's that?
Thank you. Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your consideration on the item. I'm gonna, if you wish to leave now, otherwise I'm gonna move to item 5, which is a discussion on self-contained breathing apparatus for the fire department.
Thank you, Board.
Thanks for your vote.
It's on the record.
Hey there, new neighbors, how you doing back there? How's the house coming? Moved in yet? December, huh?
It's got pushed back.
Oh, what, are you making changes or what?
Yeah, welcome.
All the projects are not the way. Yes, building stuff at the farm is more important.
Yeah, you know how that goes. All right, I think we're sufficiently cleared out of those that wish to leave, so we're going to discuss if or when to purchase self-contained breathing apparatus is required. Requested by the fire chief to replace the ones that will become outdated with the 2014 NFPA standards. We had some budgetary meetings on this a little bit, and we asked the chief to go out and research to see if there was actually better prices, and lo and behold, he did. Don, do you want to give us a quick update?
Well, I guess we talked to another vendor. Fenland Fire Equipment does actually handle MSA air packs. And they are considerably cheaper, approximately $8,000 cheaper on the packs as quoted. I compared the quotes and I can't find any differences in them. I've checked with the low bidder and he assures me he didn't make an error in his bid. Gave him an opportunity to check it and make sure. And he said that's what they're willing to sell them for.
All right, so we're looking at page 1 of Bedlin, seven units, $3,554, and the 5 alarms. Somebody got that number handy?
4,400 each.
4,400 each, so roughly $900 difference.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask?
Yes.
Fire Chief a question? The fire alarm, it was the SCBA's with masks, and is that the Benlin, that 7, we're looking with the masks, or are we looking without the masks?
They're without masks, but when you took the price, the masks aren't a necessity for us right now.
Okay.
So
then we
if you
can
compare
confirm.
apples to apples, the no masks, we're about $8,000.
So that'd be about 4113, we should look at that.
William?
I just inquiring, with all the conversation last night at the fire meeting, is this before us in the same form it was at the budget? I mean, I know Patty wasn't there, but there could be some things that would change if we all knew what was going on, other than the quote come in lower. But what about the action of the fire meeting itself?
Well, that's what I wanted to have some conversation about. And,
Yeah.
And I'm going to interject that right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the fire department, through the citizens, do realize that on most summers they have a picnic that is profitable. Sometimes 10,000, sometimes 12,000. If it's really hot, maybe a little more. But they've been putting the money away, saving some money, so they have roughly $60-some thousand in their savings account. They, in a motion last night, because they know the value to purchasing these now when the price is considerably less than what they are going to be when the 2014 standard starts, is willing to expend fire department funds if the town board doesn't. However, what I'd like to see happen is that the fire department and the town board go into a partnership and share the cost of the devices. That way, both systems would be funding roughly 20 to 22,000. That's about what it'd be. Dan?
So 7 of the air packs were at 3,500, and then the 4. Is there 4 for 38? Is that how that's quoted? They're the same ones, right?
No, 4 have the written lines.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right. Sorry about that. I didn't look at the. And then the 40 air bottles. That's on for the 600.
We're only looking at 20. They just quoted 40.
Right. That's what that was it. So they quoted.
Total 20. They quoted 40.
Is it a 2-for-1 deal? And quite frankly, those wouldn't change with the standard, then they could be budgeted items or considered in the capital expenditures after the first of the year.
And Patty, we had talked about this at the budget meeting, but you missed last night's, and so they reiterated how the significance of this being on the agenda tonight is, and Bill asked the question too about why it's on tonight, is to buy these at the standards before they change again come 2014.
So are these like the 2007 standards, or this is the actual 2014 standards? Or
These are the 2007 standards, which 2007 standards is misleading because that's when the standard first started, was 2007, and it gets gradually updated, getting redone in 2014. These are at 2000. compliant with the 2013 standards that are in place right now. It's not like just because we didn't do 14, you have to upgrade to 214 and throw everything away. It's just, you know, you have that standard, it's usable for the next 20 years unless they make something that is an absolute mandatory change to the system. When they integrated and made the mandatory pass alarm, which is the alarm that goes off when a firefighter goes down and becomes unmobile. When they mandated that become an integrated system compared to a separate device, then everybody had to upgrade to that immediately. But that doesn't happen real often, that they make those drastic changes in the middle of a cycle. But
Okay, so one of the things is actually being able to have these packs currently at the 2200 being labeled or certified, you know, with those labeling recommendations? Or not necessarily?
No, a 2200 bottle is still a 2200
Okay.
PSI bottle.
Okay.
These would be 4,500 PSI bottles, which then extends the time frame from 30 to 35 to possibly 40 minutes worth of air versus the new regulation, which is going to take it down to 12 to 15 minutes worth of air when the 14 standard comes. So the 2200 PSI bottle is going to be very short-lived. That's why the push is to move to the higher standard, get those into service, and be able to buy them at the much reduced cost over what the new standard is going to be in 2014. Kathy first, then Bill.
Mr. Chairman, I have another question for the fire chief. So if these 7 are not with masks, then the fire department would incur a cost of retrofitting the masks at a later date. And those are approximately 400 a mask, or?
sometime in the future, we could potentially have to upgrade all the masks. Like I said, you know, they don't come in on the day the standard is written. Come in and do an inventory of your equipment, say everything you have to throw away, and it all has to be replaced. There's some components on the masks that we currently have that would need to get upgraded over time. You know, it's parts. It's the lens is changing, the temperature, the factor that, or the ability for the lens to adhere to the heat. That type of stuff is changing. The heads-up display is being changed from external to internal, things like that. It's things that can be purchased as we go. Like you say, yeah, we do have 45 masks, I believe. You know, so it's stuff that over time might have to be done, but it doesn't have to happen right now. Once the 2014 standard goes into place, those changes, which we know are going to be changes, are mandatory. They can't sell an air pack that isn't compliant with the NFPA standard at the time it's sold. So once the new standard comes into place, then anything you buy has to be compliant with the standard at that time.
Okay, and what I was looking for was that answer, so that if we're looking at sharing the expense with the fire department, they're going to be incurring that cost, or maybe would be incurring another $4,000 expense at some point down the road that I think should be taken into consideration.
Well, that could be a year or two down the road. That could be budgeted at that point.
Yeah, and that could be even longer than that down the road. Right now, the masks that we currently have will work on these new as is. You know, they will snap in and they are acceptable. And like I said, we don't know, or I don't know if the chief knows when that will be, as far as, and it may be as stuff that needs replacement or something gets damaged. Okay, you can upgrade at that point out of the standard equipment operating budget.
When you were talking earlier at the budget meeting, in regards to outfitting certain trucks, you know, how many would this?
You can, I can answer, or Don, you can. It'll outfit both engines, engine 1 and engine 3, which are our initial attack units. The ladder truck will have 2 of them in, where I guess the back seats would be set, and then there would be 3 of them in the squad truck. So the initial attack units and I guess the trucks to follow would be. And the important thing at the budget meeting was the initial attack units, which is engine 1 and 3. And those would both be completely, and so, and did I get that right, Don, or is that?
Yeah, other than the 3 that are in the squad truck you referred to are old 4,500 pound cylinder.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Andy, you talking about last night, the money that they are, wasn't there something about the amount was different than what the amount of packs? Didn't they go for replacing them all? And because of the safety feature, that was 22, somebody filling up a 22 and thinking it's a 40?
No, the 3.
So it's the same.
Three 2200s left in the squad and 3 4500s in the squad, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, there was discussion on that, but it wasn't acted on, or it was.
The long and short of it, hasn't been an opportunity, maybe except for the Carpet City fire, that 19 firemen would pack up and never attack the fire internally. So it wasn't the desire, but it was desired to have 3 spares in the squad truck. So that's the long and short of where we are on that.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make a motion.
I got a question on where would the funds come from?
We could take it out of reserves. We still have reserves that we could utilize from it. Fortunately, over the last couple of years, our budgets were good. We did build some reserves. We likely will pull some reserves out of that to analyze this budget, to help this budget stay stable. But I think there's sufficient funds for a $20,000 investment to save $30,000 next year.
I'd like to make a motion that the town purchase the 7 C11 EXPs for $24,878, and that the fire department personnel purchase the 4 C11 EXPs at $38.10 a piece, $15,240, and that the firemen, when they need to retrofit those masks, they fit that out of their dues as well.
Out of the budget or dues?
Out of their budget, their fire department funds. So it's close to a 50-50
Is there a second to that? I'll second it for discussion. Questions? Bill?
Thank you. So you added at the end, you said that would roughly be 50-50.
It would be closer to 50-50. It's not exactly 50-50, it's what, 60-40 probably?
But the town's portion would be no more than?
24,878. And that, the way my motion read, the firemen would come back to us and say, when those 7 masks need to be retrofit, they wouldn't come back to us for that funding. That would be part of their investment when they so choose to do it. Today, a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever it may be.
Other questions? Concerns? Other ideas? Hearing none.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to the town to expend the $24,878
Out of the general
out
fund?
of general fund revenues, reserve revenues, asking the fire department to fund the $15,240 and any costs for additional masks as they become needed. The motion was made, seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have an aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Didn't know if I heard all 5. Apologize if I didn't. All right, we are now going to move to item that we briefly had a discussion on MSA. I believe Clem is here tonight with us. Is the town board interested in developing a 5-year capital improvement plan, which could either be this year or starting next year? Or what did you folks think about the conversation that was had? Questions that you had? Patty, you got a lot of notes there. You're good at that.
I guess earlier in the year, we had the grant writing.
Yep.
You know, we talked about Chris doing that.
She
That was one of
has
the.
gone to the class.
Right.
I went last month, yes.
Yeah, and after attending that class for the first time, how do you feel about that?
I feel enlightened on grant writing. I do not know that the town of Grand Rapids right now qualifies for any type of grant other than small grants, possibly for our fire or police department for some small equipment, or maybe some small types of things for the public works department. As far as anything for our building or redoing our building or repairing our building, they do not offer grants like that. And most of them need to be federal grants that need to be written by someone other than a town employee themselves. I do have a lot of excellent resources that I did gain from this schooling, but like I said, there's a lot of things we just don't qualify for based on the size of our town and the value. I mean, what this town is worth. You know, I can't think of the right word right now. Median income, yes. So that's my input, I guess.
I think rural insurance and rural whatever had a lot of talk about you could fund your, town hall and that, but quite frankly, because of the town's medium income, we were thrown right back out of that pretty quick out of that buy. So, the thought process is if we want to consider this, put it in our budget to do it, I would suggest that we didn't do it yet this year because sufficient time would not be established to a reasonable looking at what does this town need over the next 5 years. We may need to look at what is the equipment needs for the crew. We always know what our building needs are. We always know what other things are, but do we want to enter, or at least have our attorney look at a possible agreement and consider doing one for
this year?
Yeah, for next year. We'd put it in, if we would do it, I'd put it into this year's budget as a line item to complete it during next year. William, what's your question?
Thank you. My thoughts, and I've always been for 5-year plan and planning, but especially with towns, I feel that that's a town project. I think it brings supervisors together. It's not some outside firm thinking what's best for this town, and then we as supervisors agree or disagree. This is what we come up with. It's our plan. So I'm not in favor of hiring a firm to do a 5-year plan. That's my opinion.
Other comments? Hearing no other comments, if anybody wishes to make a motion one way or the other, or no motion at all, it would die. Item dies. Thank you for your efforts. All right, I had some discussion with Bill a few weeks ago about garbage and recycling contract. Oops, I jumped over. Oh, sorry, I had a double line there.
Number 7.
Discussion number 7, the need to post and hire part-time snow plowers for upcoming snow plowing. Talk to Rick, we probably have 2 to 3 potential, you may leave Mr. Bowden if you need to. Rick, we have what, 2 to possibly 3? 2. And we'd like to get ourselves in the position to at least see if we can find 2 or 3 more that would be able to jump in when shifts are available, whether it's evening or nights, with CDLs, and be able to learn to plow the town roads and help us so that we can get through the town within 1 swing shift, which is up to hopefully no more than 13 hours. I don't think we ever went into a second day this year, did we, last year? I think we got everything done within the one shift. But it does take a lot of time to plow. How many roads, 90? 90 miles, so it's 100. Okay, so what I'd like to do is advertise and post and direct personnel to interview. And we could do this as a board if the board wishes to the interview process. However, which way you want to go.
Say the latter part that you just said. The latter part of it.
We could do it as a board process if the board wished to interview the whole. I mean, entirely up to, we could have personnel take the lead, but everybody would be invited and do it as a board process rather than an individual. William?
And you know, I think that's important. You know, not that I want to get paid and stuff like that. It's just the idea that when the town hires somebody, and I don't care if it's the police and fire commission or whoever it is, that if it's a problem, we end up saying, you hired that guy. You know, I don't want to say, no, I didn't have anything to do with it. I did.
Question.
Go ahead.
Or comment, I should say. I guess it's also just as important, I guess I wish I would encourage board members to come out and ride along in the trucks and see what we do.
Yes.
We get very few that even offer.
That's interesting.
It's a very good learning experience.
Go ahead, Dan.
From a first-hand experience, that is very enlightening when you hop up there with Rick. You think they're just driving down the road, listening to the radio. There's so much going on in that truck when they're trying to plow, whether it's somebody pulling out in front of us or heaven knows what. It's a job. It's not something just anybody can do. I guess my next question is, when we post it, do we post it here and do we, put it out there, or do we have to put it in the paper?
I mean, I think the best thing for us would be to get it into the paper, the local paper, so we find the operators that may be laid off from their current jobs that might want to do some work that are laid off for the winter. I would post the paper, post here, post the fire department, and post.
Do you want it posted? I believe the Tribune still has like an online job thing. All right, that's good thinking.
So is there a motion to seek to hire up to 3?
Yes, I'll make a motion that we post the position and look for up to 3 part-time snowplow.
I'll second that motion.
Who was first?
Bill.
Bill, thank you. Motion by Dan, second by Bill, to post and hire potentially up to 3 part-time snowplowers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have an aye, any opposed? None opposed. Item number 8 now, right?
Okay, quickly.
Go ahead.
How long do you want the posting up for?
10 days.
Until a qualified applicant is found.
10 days, 10 days.
Deadline?
You can keep it open-ended.
10 days.
See where we get in 10 and then we'll go from there.
Anything else?
No, I'll put it in the paper twice.
Yeah. What's the most common one, the Saturday? It gets over a weekend.
I can check with their department and they supposedly know.
All right, we're gonna move to item 8, discuss upcoming garbage and recycling contract. Last conversation Bill and I had at a short after another meeting was that you hadn't had any response back yet. Bill, have you heard anything from Veolia? Or, excuse me, Advance now?
Yeah, yes, I have. And we're having a meeting, our recycling and solid waste committee having a meeting Monday, and I have the agenda out tomorrow. Dale Mark from Advanced Recycling has contacted me, and he was going to bring his new supervisor, which is for this area, and he lives in the town of Grand Rapids. and he's not for sure if he can come to it. But Dale's gonna be here 8 o'clock Monday morning, and he's gonna bring some of his staff with him.
Okay. So, then you are gonna determine whether we need to do an RFP, request for proposals, you're gonna discuss that?
Yes.
Or if they're gonna seek an extension, or
Well, I don't,
what the attorney gave you, I don't remember, the letter so long ago.
yeah, me too, but these people that attended the lawyers' conference, that was a big topic about contracts with curbside pickup. Was correct? Was that not a big issue? And how we should control it? And that's why Dale wants to talk to me about improving the pickup, the garbage, and also improving the amount of recyclables.
He wants to talk to your committee, not just you.
Yes. Yes, he does.
All right, so nothing else to report on that then, I assume?
Nothing else.
All right, we're gonna, resolution number, item 9, resolution 2013-34, providing substitute for treasurer's bond. We've done this for a zillion years. Once a year, we have to do that.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2013-34 as presented.
Motion by Kathy, seconded by Dan. Any discussion? Bill?
Yeah, a substitute, it used to be just a treasurer's bond. Now it's a substitute because you can go through the county and get it cheaper. Is that correct or wrong?
I'm not sure, Bill.
Okay.
When did they change what it was called?
Yeah, it's been
Well,
there.
I thought it's been
MC
called
was sick.
that since I was here,
Since
I
you've been
think.
here, I think.
That's
I
the
always-
same wording
It's
that's
the
always
same
been.
one we always, yeah, I don't know, I was gonna say, if they changed the wording, I'm not sure when they did that, but.
Okay.
This has been in place since 2003
Since Jan Zager.
that I know of at
2003,
least.
when I started, for sure.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Item 10, resolution 2013-35, amending the 2013 budget to include the costs and repair of fuel tank system on ladder 1 fire vehicle.
This is wrong. Just didn't change.
I got the
update
wrong
this.
numbers on.
That's why I didn't read it.
So 36 should be 35. So 35 should be 36. You're saying, right?
No,
No?
no, 35 is correct. It's just that the account name and function number are wrong and the dollar amount on the resolution as presented would be wrong. But the,
No, we did the computer stuff last time. 35 is wrong completely. I'll have to do that, redo that one at the next
We'll table that one.
budget. Yep.
Table that item and get a corrected resolution.
I must have got a phone call in the middle and forgot I changed the resolution number and forgot to change the rest of it.
All right, item
We have to
11.
make a motion to table it.
No, I can table because it's correct. Resolution 2013-36, amending a 2013 budget to approve any budget deficit for this year to be paid from town's general fund.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion by Bill, second by Patty. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Do we have the vouchers, Judy?
Yep.
Yes, we did. Any questions on the vouchers as you perused them?
no question.
No questions.
Okay. Did we have any
Operators
leases?
Nope, none.
None. Monthly reports from committees, Public Works, finally, Town Line Road is going in, and already there's budget overruns. Can you imagine that?
But it's on time.
It is on time, looks to be over in engineering fees simply because they had to do a study, archaeological study due to the proximity of the two cemeteries, where they know there was two cemeteries, one there at 48th, and then way down by Sherry Circle, there's a lost 5-mile cemetery somewhere way back in there that they had to do range on. So we did have a little cost. Hopefully that's going to be the only overrun, but don't cross your fingers. Gravel is on the road, so it's looking good. Rick, did they get all the gravel on or just 3/4 of it? You know?
Open gravel, I got gravel.
Yeah.
Are they? They were 20 to 6 this morning and they were clanking down the road. They were still dumping it there, so.
Yeah, I did drive there on the way over and they were dumping yet, so hopefully they'll get the gravel on, then they'll grind it up, lay it out flat. And
Are they on schedule?
I believe the pulverizing's all done and that machine's gone.
Oh, they did that, right?
Today.
Okay. All right, so should be on schedule then. Anything else on Public Works, Rick? Any problems with equipment?
No, but our culvert replacement on Bloody Run is delayed due to 3-inch gas main needs to be moved over.
Okay.
3-inch, what did you say?
Gas main,
Yes.
natural gas.
Is that scheduled yet or not?
Yeah, hopefully next 2 weeks possibly.
So it should get done yet this fall yet then, correct? Okay. Patty Plan Commission, anything? You're gonna meet tomorrow, next week, I think,
Yeah,
right?
but from my last report, we did meet on September 23rd. We had 2 meetings last month.
Okay, that's right, you did.
We had 2 land use permits issued, 1 conditional use permit to quarry an existing pond. We spoke about the outdoor wood burners, and we are getting closer to finalizing the recommendations that we'll be sending to the Legislative Committee on the domestic fowl. We are going to be discussing, we spoke a short period of time regarding cell tower regulations. There's new regulations coming down the line that we have to change our ordinance to meet the new regulations. So that's coming up on this next town board, or excuse me, plan commission meeting. And part of that is that we need to recognize any type of approvals that may come about for cell towers. We have to have approvals within 90 days. That's the big issue about cell towers. And so the attorney is going to get some more information for us at our next meeting. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Bill, anything on the airport commission? I know you're meeting in
Yes, the 11th, I believe. Yes, the 11th of October.
so there's nothing to report, is there?
No.
Okay. Patty, anything on public buildings?
No, we did not meet,
Bill?
but we're discussing our expenditures or things that need to be repaired at our budget.
At the budget. Recycling, solid waste, Bill, anything else?
Just that meeting.
Public?
Oh, I talk about Choose to Reuse program. It was very, very successful. We had a few glitches in it, but we can straighten them out with more volunteers. But 5,280 pounds of stuff was collected for Badger Iron. And there'll be a check going to Encourage Foundation, a recycling fund that they have, that they're going to use now for our Choose to Reuse program for advertising. So,
okay.
Very successful.
Anything else? Public safety, any meeting updates?
Public safety is not met. We will be meeting to discuss the policy regarding ordinance enforcement, but we haven't met yet.
Any other committee meetings that have met that we haven't covered? Reports from individual town board members? Bill?
I have nothing.
Dan?
I guess nothing other than it is nice to see public access here, and whoever is some member of the community is paying for it. We appreciate it. We'd like to thank them because, again, I know we're talking about it for next year's budget, but it is nice to have them here. So thank you for coming on.
Okay.
Nothing, thank you.
And I've got a couple things. Mid-State Technical College has a celebration tomorrow. I believe it is 3:30, Bill?
Yes.
3:30 p.m. to 6. If you wish to stop over there, they're going to have a rededication ceremony I didn't realize they'd been there 100 years. I thought I was one of the first ones to graduate from there in 1968, and that's a long time ago if you want to know the truth. That's why I'm retiring at the end of the year, thank you very much. But yes, I do have a degree.
I just have one thing if I can.
Go ahead, Bill.
Sorry. I won't make the budget meeting because I'm having some medical.
Okay, that's fine. We'll try to get continue on our process of weeding the line items down, and then try to have by the following week a more representative budget. What it look like.
Do you think, being that not everyone's going to be able to attend, that we should postpone it then?
We normally don't.
We normally don't. If there's, we can still function with 3. Is there another one besides Bill that's gonna be gone Thursday?
No, I won't be there. Would you be able to attend by a phone call or something like that? Is that?
Well, nothing gets set in stone. I mean, that's what Arne's point is that he could actually even give us notes of information.
Anything that we would change, it certainly could be brought up the following week, so Bill could have input if he wished to sway us one way or the other, because it's not going to be until November, though, it's going to be finally totally set. So, you know, there's room to give and take. Also, what I'd like to do is we have an annual report from CWE, who monitors our landfill for gases escaping from it. And the gist of their summary says there is some slight exceedances detected, but they do not present a threat to human health or the environment. So that's their story. I'll put that on file. Kathy will have it in file if you wish to read the full report. And Judy, in it?
No.
Did everybody that's going to convention meet the arrangements? Kathy? Chris, anything else?
No, I was just gonna tell you about the grants training I attended, but we talked about it, so.
Okay. Hearing nothing else, I accept that world famous motion to adjourn, and I believe by Bill. Second by Dan, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:42.